Hey guys, so welcome to another video, and this is not a gaming video, of course, but a conversation of me with OpenAI's ChatGPT 3. It's actually, I was curious, I was asking a lot of questions, so I thought, why not let's just, just get into JavaScript and ask few questions related to it to understand how much how good of a chat GPT is. It was my first time interacting with this, so I started with a one question that explain me the internal working of JavaScript V8 engine. So Node.js, I guess it's powered by V8 engine, of course, and V8 engine is being developed by is was actually developed by Google. if you guys into if you guys are into programming and all, front end development or API development using Node and everything, so you might be aware of these things. So I asked this question and here's the answer. So it explained me what V8 is and few little bit of things of internals, some what to say, the buzzwords or maybe the keywords, how it works actually. So I was curious to know what is mark and sweep technique that V8 engine uses to do the garbage collection. So I asked ChatGPT to actually tell me. Wait, let me go to the next one here. So I asked it, can you tell me exactly how the mark and sweep technique works? So it told me that there are two phases, and one is mark and another is sweep phase and everything. It went through that explanation. And then I asked and how does GC identifies it? It mentioned that the live objects, right? Uh, it marks the live objects, and the unmarked objects are then they are swept or collected by the GC. So yeah, so I asked okay, how does garbage collection or collector identifies what is a live object, so it told me I wanted to get into that graph and everything. So I was expecting an explanation like that, so it gave me that explanation, of course. So it told me that okay, root objects it traverses and all, and marking and unreachable objects are then those nodes that are not connected to the graph. They are they're available to be garbage collected and everything was good. Then I asked can you write a code example in JavaScript to demonstrate this process of tracing? This whole process is called tracing. So I asked it actually mentioned tracing somewhere over here. Here it mentioned the GC uses a technique called tracing. So I was like, okay, can you write a code? So it indeed wrote it wrote a good code, but not what I was expecting. So yeah, so here it created object 1, object 2, object 3, and assigned some values, key value pairs to those objects. And then it said that let root node be object 1 and object 2, and then it referenced object 1 of it pointed object 1 towards object 2, and then object 2 to object 3. So okay, all the nodes are connected to each other. It's okay. uh, not all the nodes actually. Referencing is in a way reference to either one of them. So everything is actually connected to the root node. So it was like okay, I was good, I was happy with it. But when I saw this object 3 equals null, and I wrote this thing, and then I went through the explanation, it was like I was like what the heck is going on? It's like totally unacceptable. My brain couldn't process this thing. So I was like, dude, you're just referencing it. So I asked the same question, in this example, isn't object 3 still an object as it's associated with object 2? It's just that the assignment value is null, right? As you can see, it's just assigned. It's like nowhere written that it's it's unassigning object 3 from object 2. Like it's not referencing, it's not written there. So it said that okay, you're correct. It tried to correct itself, or do some explanation on it. Then I wasn't convinced by that explanation here. So I was like, okay, wait. Uh, I was trying to be respectful, so I wrote pardon me and all everything. You can ignore that. So I asked briefly. I wrote briefly that I'm still unable to understand how object 3 is not referenced by object 2, as there's no code written that is removing object 2 referencing object 3. So yeah, it's just that object 3 is assigned a new value that is null, right? So it again, like, it was like, okay, it was trying to correct itself. It was like, okay, yeah, you're right. So blah blah blah, you can go through all these things. And then I wrote like no issues once ChatGPT 3 like admitted its, what to say, mistake. I was like, okay, no issues, dude. Can you like rewrite your code, improving it like from the previous one? So it was like, okay. So now it wrote a new code. Everything till here is same, but here, instead of making object 3 as assigning object 3 a null value, it made reference of object 2 as null. So now object 3 is not associated with the root node. So now I can say, okay, object 3 is now ready to be garbage collected. So I was convinced. I was like, good, that's awesome. That is what I was expecting. But then I was like, what about, I wanted to, I wanted to point out actually what the explanation was not right. Maybe the code was right. Here the first code was right, but the explanation was not right, because what actually happens here is if it would have explained me that okay, object 3 will will be associated with object 2, and it will be associated with root node, but the value of this object, this particular object, it will be garbage collected, then I would have been like, yeah, that is good. It's a good answer in one go, and I would have been really very impressed. But that wasn't the case. But here it is the case. So I was like, okay, yeah, good, that is good. But I wanted to point that thing out. I wanted to see whether it understands what I'm talking about or not. So I wrote briefly again that in your first example, as the value that was assigned to object 3 was this E5 and F6, but when you reassign it the new value that is null, what will happen to the previous, then I in brackets I pointed out E5 and F6 object, what will happen to it? Will GC collect it and clear the memory, or it will hold it? So it was like, okay, it gave the correct response that no, it won't hold that object, it will actually clear it. So I was like, okay, now I'm convinced. And now I'm curious, why I'm making this video is because I want you guys to ask same questions. I'll post it in the sequence of questions, I'll post it in the description. And I would want you guys to do the same, ask the same questions, not all of it, but I just want to see whether this time it gives a correct code example or not. So that is one thing that we all can do, and that is the one thing why I'm creating this video. So yeah, thank you for watching it, and do let me know what are the responses from ChatGPT down in the comments. Thank you.